I got that animal ambition. I got that animal ambition. I got that.
Hey y'all, Smoak here, what's good? This is gonna be the third part video of 11 dead wrestlers' first and last matches in the WWE. The last video was Luke Harper, and now we're gonna be looking at Crime Time's own Shad Gaspard, who passed away like 2 or 3 years ago. He died a heroic death, who passed away when they were swimming in Venice Beach in LA, and the rip current got too strong and the swimmers was in danger, and as the lifeguard was approaching to rescue them, Shad demanded to have his son saved first instead, which of course is the obvious choice, you know, being the offspring and all. And it was too late when it was time for him to get to Shad Gaspard, unfortunately. And his body was later found, and you know, in the water after days. He already knew what was gonna happen. Kudos to him, and bless the family. I hope they're doing well. The kid, I don't know how old the kid is. I know he's young. 10 years from now, I know he's gonna be looking back at this and be like, damn, that really happened. Let's watch his first and last matches of the WWE by Tap Out Corner.
Shad grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and at 5 years old, his father began teaching him how to box. Since he started training at such a young age, Shad began competing in tournaments while he was still a teenager. Because of his large size, the future Crime Time member fought against adults that were sometimes 20 years older than him. With that kind of background, it was a natural transition for Shad to become a bodyguard once he was an adult. His career took a much different path in 2002 when he tried out for Tough Enough. Out of thousands that entered, Shad made it to the finals, but unfortunately was disqualified after failing a physical. It wasn't all bad, however. He was recruited by WWE talent scout Tom Pritchard and began training in WWE's development promotion, OVW. After spending a couple of years there, Shad finally got signed by WWE in 2005, and it wouldn't be long before the 6'6" wrestler made his debut on the main roster. In 2006, Gaspard joined forces with the Neighborhoodie, who would later be known as JTG. They clicked, and in September of the same year, promos began hyping their debut on the main roster. Then, finally, October 16th, 2006, after...
For those that watch NXT, Out the Mud is very similar to them, for what I just seen in that promo. By style, you know, a pair of African Americans, you know, growing up from the hood, you know, just like the Crime Time. They gotta stop it, bro. I know the Crime Time was their idea. I don't know about Out the Mud on NXT. I don't know who idea that was. Probably gonna be revealed like 10 years from now or something.
After over 4 years of work, Shad Gaspard would have his first match in WWE. After issuing a non-title
Hey, look who was in the background. CM Punk.
open challenge, the World Tag Team Champions, the Spirit Squad, entered the ring. As you can probably guess, it was Shad and his partner JTG that answered the call. Once things settled down, Johnny and Mikey became the legal participants for the Spirit Squad, while JTG kicked off the match for Crime Time. After wearing down Johnny, JTG tagged in Gaspard, who mowed down the green panned wrestler with a massive shoulder. JTG immediately tagged back in, but thanks to some fast thinking, the Spirit Squad began taking over. Johnny and Mikey started laying into the shorter member of Crime Time, but JTG held on. When an opening presented itself, JTG took it, and Crime Time and Spirit Squad faced off again the next week, with Shad and JTG gaining a second win. Despite beating the Tag Team Champions twice, Shad's team never received a title match. However, at New Year's Revolution, Crime Time participated in and won a Tag Team Turmoil match, which earned them a shot at the belts. Sadly, Crime Time never received their match. While they may not have been able to shine in the ring as much, Shad and JTG did get plenty of time to show off their personalities. They became two of the most entertaining wrestlers in WWE at the time, and even came up with their own catchphrase.
Cause yo, we like to make that money, yeah. That money, yeah.
In September of 2007, both Shad and JTG would be released from WWE, but they weren't gone for long. Crime Time returned 6 months later, and received a massive push. They formed a faction with John Cena, aiding him during his feud with JBL. Gaspard and JTG also began feuding with the World Tag Team Champions, Ted DiBiase and Cody Rhodes. While they would receive a championship match, Crime Time was unsuccessful in their attempt. The duo then moved on to a feud with John Morrison and The Miz. In addition to competing in the ring, The teams also competed for the best online show, the Dirt Sheet, or Shad and JTG's Word Up. To give you an idea of how popular this rivalry became, at Cyber Sunday, fans voted to see Crime Time vs. Morrison and Miz over a World Tag Team Championship match. While Shad and JTG would score a few wins over the Dirt Sheet duo, Crime Time ended the feud in defeat when they lost to Jomo and the A-lister in early 2009. Later in the year, Shad, as well as JTG, got drafted to SmackDown, where Eve Torres would join the two. Their first feud on the Blue Show was with the Hart Dynasty. While the teams traded wins and losses, Shad's side ultimately won when they beat D.H. Smith and Tyson Kidd to become #1 contenders for the tag team titles. Crime Time received their championship match at SummerSlam, but despite an impressive showing, it wasn't their night. Unfortunately, this is also the beginning of the end for Crime Time. Gaspard and JTG were both supposed to compete at bragging rights as part of Team SmackDown, but due to health concerns involving Shad, they were replaced. For the rest of the year, and into 2010, the duo didn't do a whole lot, besides participating in some #1 contenders matches that they lost. With the team becoming stale, it was time for a change. On the SmackDown after WrestleMania 26, Crime Time faced off against John Morrison and R-Truth. The match lasted a total of 44 seconds, with the latter team getting the win. After the pinfall, JTG checked in on his partner. Shockingly, Shad assaulted the man he had tagged with for over 3 years. Gaspard later explained his actions, claiming that JTG was standing in his way, and it was his time now. With his Crime Time days behind him, Shad began sporting a new look and entrance music. After weeks of unsanctioned brawls, Gaspard officially came face to face with his former friend at Extreme Rules. While Shad wasn't the victor that night, he redeemed himself a few weeks later when he beat JTG on an episode of Superstars. Unfortunately, Shad's run as a singles competitor was never fully realized, as his final match in WWE arrived on May 14, 2010. In his home state of New York, Shad walked down the entrance ramp one last time. His opponent was a local competitor named Jesse Guyver, who you may know better as the Blade in AEW.
Wow.
Gaspard started the match by using his size to intimidate his opponent. Shad's plan didn't quite work out, as Guyver's fight response was activated, but Gaspard shut it down pretty quickly. The former Crime Time member continued to viciously attack his adversary by taking him down to the mat and eventually strangling him in the ropes. Jesse Guyver attempted to make a comeback, but Shad countered and hit the STO for the win. Adding insult to injury, Gaspard got in Guyver's face, even after the bell had run. Shad's final WWE match, unfortunately, doesn't have a whole lot to it. It was a squash match, made to make him look good, and it did the job. Shad didn't get released from WWE until November of 2010, so I don't think anybody knew that this is going to be how he left the company. With that said, I kind of wish his match with JTG would have been his last, since that would be a good way of tying his WWE career together. However, it was nice that he got to leave after a match that highlighted his strengths, and also had his hand raised at the end of it. Now let's see where Shad's career took him after this. For one reason or another, Gaspard went to WWE's development system at the time, FCW. He spent a few months there until being released from his contract in late 2010. After WWE, Shad continued to wrestle on the independent circuit while also developing his film career. He appeared in a number of movies and TV shows, both on camera and as a stuntman. He even provided motion capture for a couple of video games and worked on a graphic novel. Besides playing and creating heroes, Shad was also a hero in real life. In 2016, while at a gas station, Shad stopped an armed robber and subdued him until police arrived. This makes his passing all the more sad. On May 17, 2020, Gaspard was swimming with his 10-year-old son in Venice Beach, California. They got caught in a strong rip current and Shad was taken under. A search by the Coast Guard yielded no results, and after missing for a few days, Gaspard's body washed ashore. Something that really speaks to Shad's character is that when lifeguards came to rescue Shad and his son, he instructed them to save his child first. There's a lot of stories of terrible people in wrestling, and while I've never met Shad Gaspard, he seems like one of the good guys.
Facts. Hey, yeah, that was a good vid. That was a good portion of the video. He left the legend, man. He left his world of legend, no doubt about it, bro. Yeah, to stop an armed robbery, bro, at a gas station, like no weapon, bro, is crazy. You know, he know who he is. He recognizes his physique. You know, might as well take advantage of the situation. Because all he did was like hold him down until the police arrived. It's unfortunate they didn't utilize it more in the WWE, but that just showed that Vince really didn't care about the character. Probably JTG too, like individually. I think JTG was there longer, I'm not entirely sure, but bottom line was he wasn't on screen for too much. Maybe he was on Superstars, but that's about it. They really didn't do nothing with him. Most of them for the most part. Thank you guys for watching. Peace, I'm out.